43.
And then John was 3 years later, and Rudy was 3 years after that. And then in 1950, the farmers voted to close the cheese factory. Probably,
It was a co-op.
yeah, the farmers owned the cheese factory, and Dad made cheese and sold it, and then when he got paid by the cheese buyer, he would pay the farmers. So, but the farmers had to haul the milk cans to the factory every morning. And so along came this guy with the big bulk truck, and he says, "I'll save you some time. I'll pick up your milk. You don't have to haul it to the factory anymore." And so the farmers met at the factory, and by one vote, they voted to go with the bulk truck. And Dad told me that the next day, one of the guys that voted to go with the bulk truck came back to him and says, "I wish I'd have changed my mind and, stayed with you." But it was, Dad says, "What's done is done." And so, unfortunately, that was about the time he got his cheese making tools paid for. And because all the factories were closing, he lost money. So then, for let's see, 43 to 57. Well, for a couple years, probably until I was 9 or 10, we drove back and forth to the factory. And that was the time. There used to be a barn over by, where that shed is, and a silo. They're gone, of course. That machine shed there wasn't there. And the school bus refused to come down this road because there wasn't any other kids along here. So every morning, me and Carl would have to walk across this field, and there was a wooden steps over the fence at the top of the hill. And so we would climb over that, and that was one of the reasons I quit playing the tuba, because I had to carry the tuba from the house to the get up there. So that's what I did. I quit the tuba, but yeah, Dad would get us up early in the morning, and we'd have to help him milk. I was supposed to empty the milk, and him and Carl would change the milking machines. And a lot of times I would fall asleep in the manger, and he'd yell at me to get the milk emptied. And so sometimes we'd fall back to sleep, and he'd have to come a second time to get us out of bed, but he never had to come back a third time.
What?
So how many years did he make cheese at the Spore cheese factory?
42 to about 53.
Okay.
And then we moved up here, and when we moved up here, there was just an outhouse behind the house. There was no water in the house. And so to get water, we had to carry it from that building down there up to the house every morning. So to have water for today, because that was where the water came from. Eventually, they dug a well and put the water in there.
And then the cheese factory just sat empty?
No. When we moved up here, Grandma Bowers needed a place to live. Mom's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so John was elected to go stay with her. And so John...
Who held the election? The 4 boys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't old enough to help with the cattle milking. So...
How old was he?
Well, I was 13, he was about 10. So he would help Grandma. And then get down a little further.
Big house.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. And it only had a wood stove for heat. So there was a open register in the floor, and that's how the heat got up into the bedroom. Mom and Dad slept downstairs, and the 2 younger guys slept downstairs, Rudy and John, and me and Carl slept upstairs. And then they didn't want to heat the second half of the upstairs. So they put a cardboard over the thing, and that was just a storage room. And so there used to be a fence around the house because the cows would run free. And so, walking back and forth down to the barn, you had to watch your steps sometimes too. And then that little side hill there, well, there used to be a machine shed about the size of that one there, up in that area. And Carl was going to put the tractor away in that machine shed, and he turned the tractor, and the grass was kind of getting dewy at night, and the tractor slid, and then all of a sudden it caught, and then it flipped and landed on top of him. So I was just getting done milking, and Dad, and I had on a pair of the cheesemaker boots that come up to here, because I was going to go down to the creek and catch some frogs. And when I saw the tractor on Carl, Dad said, "Go get help." And so I ran down the driveway, and somewheres going down the driveway, I lost the boots and ran barefoot to the next farm down there. And they had a dog that was mean, and I startled the dog and ran right by him. He didn't know what to think. So then the Bartles got on the party line and called the ambulance in Darlington. And because it was a party line back then, when people heard the phone being used, the neighbors would pick it up just to hear what was going on. So Charles McManus at the next farm, where you can see the silo up there, heard that we needed help. So I rode back up with the Bartles guy, and Charles came, and so the three men got like a 4x4, long 4x4, and lifted the tractor up off of Carl, and I think it was Mom and I that pulled him out because he was trapped underneath by the seat. And so then we stood there waiting for the ambulance, and we watched as they drove by the entrance, and we waved flashlights and yelled at them, and one of them must have saw us. They turned around quick and came back. And yeah, I used to go hunting in those woods over there a lot. Those woods down there, those woods over there. Used to hunt rabbits, squirrels. I even got a pheasant once. And bring them home, skin them. Mom would cook them. We eat them.
Wow. Wasn't there a story of someone that passed away on this road?
Yeah, I can tell you that.
Like a friend of yours or something?
Yeah. Well, one afternoon, when we were driving back and forth from the factory, Carl came up, and he was riding on a tractor, a Farmall tractor, and he was on one side, and Alfred Emmett was on the other side, and their friend Dale Eicher was driving. So it was getting close to milking time, and so Carl hated milking, so he wasn't going to help. So they got back on the tractor, out the driveway and down the road. And then another time when we were going back and forth, a good friend of Dad's came up, Brian, don't remember the first name, but he had a real fast Mercury, I think. And so he came up to talk to Dad about blowing up some stumps or something. He had dynamite in the back. And so they got done talking. He left. And he had a reputation. Look at there.
Kitty.
He had a reputation of driving too fast. And right up just above that car was where the outhouse was. So in the wintertime we had to go out there to get to the bathroom.
You just stole 3 stories that had nothing to do
Yeah.
with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the
what
guy
happened
that...
to Carl on the tractor?
Yeah, what happened to Carl on the tractor?
We're not there yet.
Oh, we're not there yet.
So we're going
We're
down.
just leading up.
We're going down the road.
So there was a lead in to these stories, and now we're...
Oh.
Okay, got it.
I don't want to tell you what happened.
Oh, you don't want to give it.
Yeah.
But it's not like the accident site's up there.
Yes. That's where we're going.
So they left the vehicle there for the last 50 years.
And on this little bridge here is where wildlife came to drink. I did see a bobcat here once.
Oh?
And we walked from that farm to where I show you the squaws is.
So when you say you got on the bus, you were going to high school.
That's high school.
But when you were going through
Grade
8th
school.
grade, you walked up here.
First to 8th grade, yeah.
Okay.
McManus's sold out to the Olsons. The Olsons are a mega family. They have property all the way up to Yellowstone Lake. I used to babysit for the McManus family too, and I've cleaned out the barns here for the McManuses for money, not much money. Okay, this rise right here, the guy that was driving too fast came over this rise and he hit head on with Dale Eicher's father, Art Eicher. He was driving a farm truck and they were both killed almost instantly.
Wow. Both of them.
Yeah.
Did the dynamite explode?
No, fortunately they didn't have caps in them. So when Dad and I left the farm, the ambulance was here already, and I saw him take Art out of the farm truck, lay him on the stretcher for transport, but he was dead. They were kind of trying to pick glass out of his face, and Art, I think, was still trying to breathe a little bit, but he was just probably doing 60, 70 miles an hour and hit that drunken farmer, and that was the end of both of them.
Oh, the farmer on the tractor was drunk.
No, in the pickup truck.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, farm
So the
truck.
guy that was driving fast, it really wasn't his fault because he was on the right side of the road.
Probably.
And the other guy, yeah.
We'll never know.
Never know. Just,
He might have been driving like he owned the whole road.
yeah.
And but this is where it happened. 2 lives were lost right here. And he's the father of the next story I'm telling you. Again, we're walking.
It's a long walk. Even in the winter?
We,
Rain, shine, or blizzard?
yeah, if the weather wasn't too bad, we could get a ride. I mean, if the weather was really crappy, car got old enough that he could take the car to school, and he would give us a ride. But he had an accident right at the end of this street here.